All righty. Getting on with the introductions, and then you guys will have 60 seconds of rebuttal, of course. There are two things that I could not live without in this world. Great racing and great ice cream. And our next guest here knows all about that. Because from Summit Motorsports Park, where you can still buy the ice cream by the pound, right?
Absolutely, and it's still $1.
It's Bill Bader.
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity. Fascinating first round of panel discussions. My name is Bill Bader, Jr. I am the owner of Summit Motorsports Park in Norwalk, Ohio. I started working with my dad when I was 10 years old. I just completed my 40th season. Year 41 starts in 2018. And I had the good fortune to have a wonderful mentor who introduced me to all facets of the business, whether it was installing fence, whether it was picking up garbage, whether it was walking into a boardroom and making a seven-figure sponsor presentation. I have the good fortune of understanding every aspect of our business and what we do. And I think one of the challenges that we have in drag racing, but in motorsports in general, is understanding all the moving parts and understanding how they integrate together. And there is a disconnect, I think, between ownership, management, staff, and your guest, be it a racer, be it a spectator, be it a sponsor. I think it's important that those all be harmonious relationships. No question, we serve a lot of masters, but that's what we do. And I think that's important. A little over a year ago, I started a consulting business called Energize, and I have the good fortune of working with some wonderful tracks. And I think, you know, our sport, drag racing specifically, is in the infancy phase of its product life cycle. It has tremendous, tremendous potential. And I'm very excited about the future. Thank you.
Our next guest, well, I guess when your marketing plan or part of your marketing plan is all about a high-tech porta potty, you really have a unique marketing plan. From tailgating sports marketing, it's Jen Pierkowski.
Thank you. I'm super excited to be here. And my whole mission in life is to kill the porta potty. Yes. You know, I was preparing for this and talking with my mom, and the first thing she said was, I hate using a porta potty. I mean, who likes it? Raise your hand. Who likes using a porta potty? Yeah. We are innovating the fan experience, and what we are trying to do is not only bring value to your sponsors, we are trying to grow your fan base. We have an affordable, clean, mobile facility that attracts women and grows your fan base. And so, you know, I'm super excited to be here and look forward to connecting with you after the panel discussion.
I'll eventually get you trained when to clap at the right time, but it's a job all day. Well, our next guest is a regular here at the Racetrack Business Conference, and he is in such high demand, he rarely attends RTBC with the same job title from one year to the next. Jason Rittenberry.
Wow. I'm not sure that's a positive thing. This is my fifth, only 3 titles. Only 3. The first 3 years I had the same title, just different one the last 2. And next year will be a different one. So, I'm Jason Rittenberry. I've been in motorsports 17 years now, from drag racing to NASCAR to grassroots dirt track to Formula One and Circuit of the Americas in Austin, Texas for 2 years. So I've done a little bit of everything from a track standpoint. Served as CEO of IRG Sports Entertainment, so I was on the sanctioning body side with the IHRA for about 4 years. Done a little bit of everything. And for the last year, I've been in the state of Kentucky working for the Commonwealth. And I've learned one thing, that I am cut out for motorsports and not for state government. So I've been doing that for the last year, running 2 convention centers, 2 arenas, the state fair, all working for the state and the governor. And it's been a great ride. It's been fun, but I did give those guys notice that I will be leaving there 12/31, and 2018 will be back where I think I belong, in motorsports, not in horses and cows and livestock. So look forward to that announcement coming soon and what I'll be doing in 2018 with a few others in the industry. But excited to be here. Dennis, I'm sorry I lost my gold star last year. I was hoping to keep that as a presenter and speaker here at RTBC every year for every one of them, but I did lose it last year. I had to attend another conference out in Anaheim, the Convention Center World, a bunch of meeting planners. Not near as fun as motorsports people, but I had to be out in California last year. So I did miss this for the first time last year, but I'm glad to be back. So thank you to Tim and Dennis for the invite and allowing me to come back and speak today. I'm looking forward to this session. It's going to be fun.
And as you guys will learn throughout the day, I like to poke fun at our best friends from time to time. We love Jason. All right, guys, I'm going to throw this first question out here to you, Bill, but everybody's going to have a great comment about this. Are millennial race fans really different? I mean, you've grown up around this sport. You've seen, you've heard the stories. Are millennial racing fans really different?
I think every generation of race fan is different. I think every generation of race fan has different wants and needs and expectations. They have a different set of values that they operate under. I think they have a different set of core competencies. Some are more traditionalist, some are more innovative. So I think each generation of motorsports fan is different, and that makes our job really tough because we have to understand each generation. We have to understand what their hot buttons are, and we need to be able to create those offerings that make us attractive to each generation of motorsports fans. I think one of the big challenges that we face, NASCAR did a study a number of years ago. I followed up that study with some independent research and found out that 48% of the kids born in this country are born to a single parent. That's a challenge. That's a huge challenge. And specifically, the absence of a mentor. We talked about mentorship. There is no mentorship. Mom's working, trying to make ends meet. Dad's not in the picture. Children are doing right things, wrong things, all kinds of things. But there's no one to take little Susie and little Billy to their first motorsports event. And so in the absence of a mentor, it presents some unique challenges. We have a lingo that is all our own, whether it be reaction time, dead on, trip zip, whether it's specific to open wheel racing or NASCAR racing or bump drafting or whatever the terminology is, we think that's cute and we think it's cool. But to our audience, we have to understand that most people don't know what that means. So we are constantly, we should be constantly educating. We should be constantly communicating in layman's terms what our sport is all about. Drag racing specifically has some challenges because it is so complex compared to a start-finish line. Not that the technology behind the car or the athleticism of the driver, but you start at that line and you finish at that line. You can't lose by a poor reaction time or 3/10,000ths of a second or a down-track throttle stop. Oh, the car's broke. No, it isn't broke. It's come back to life. So we have a lot of unique challenges. We have, again, each generation is different. We need to understand their hot buttons. We need to communicate to them, both in our marketing and advertising, but also in their experiential I agree. Porta-Johns, we're trying to attract. How many of us craft our advertising toward women? Any of us? Or are we still doing the Sunday crash and burn videos that terrify women? And they do. We did some research, and it's scary. So we need to understand who our audience is. We need to understand each generation is different, and we need to create an experience for mom, dad, and the kids. One of the things that motorsports is guilty of is this idea of it's a good old boy network, it's a guy thing, we advertise to guys. No, big mistake. We're advertising to mom, dad, and the kids. And our facility, changing stations, nursing stations, pregnancy parking, all kinds of things that cater to mom, dad, and the kids. Electric in the pit area, so dad can plug his motorhome in and mom can lay the kids down if they get cranky in the afternoon on a 100-degree day in August. We know the dynamics of each generation. We know what their hot buttons are. We know what make them tick. But are we crafting our messaging and are we crafting our experience to attract them?
Yeah, I was at a track years ago, and I won't mention the name to protect the guilty parties here, but the guy that I was with said, "Oh, man, it's like going back in time. I feel like I'm back in the 50s again." And I said, "Yeah, there's probably DNA from the 50s in the bathrooms there." Jen, I'm going to spin this question a little bit different for you. How different are motorsports fans from stick and ball sports fans?
You know, motorsport fans are unique. It is a tribal community, you know, and I think that's a little bit of what is missing for fans. You know, we've missed the nostalgia. We've missed the storytelling. That is what engages your fans. Sharing that information on social media. You know, even if you don't have a social media manager, that's how you're going to reach these millennial fans and these younger fans. You know, who are the characters in your story? Is it, you know, the driver? You know, live broadcasting video is going to be only bigger, you know, in the coming years. So, you know, have a special day where, you know, your pit chief is you know, showing the ins and outs of how they get ready for race day, or, you know, bringing having a kids day, you know, where they get to see the cars up and close and personal, you know. I think that bringing the experience, the entertainment factor back to racing is key. And providing this awesome experience where, you know, you have technology, you're engaging them. These kids are, you know, I mean, and even some fans might not be diehard race fans, you know, but it's engaging them with, you know, either a sponsor or, you know, whatever the case may be, and sharing that message. I think it's very important.
Jason, you've seen race fans, whether it's the drag racing, some circle track stuff down in Memphis, the road course racing crowd. Are fans really different among these different genres of racing?
Absolutely, I think so. I think all the fans are all looking to come out to the track to have a good time. They're all looking to be entertained, as Jen mentioned, and Bill both. We have to entertain them, and we have to entertain them regardless of the genre of type of racing that they're coming to see. But each fan does have their own unique personality, and each fan of those different genres of motorsports. And as Dennis mentioned, I've kind of promoted a little bit of everything from dirt track to Formula One. And I can tell you, from a dirt track in Memphis, Tennessee to Formula One in Austin, Texas, there's quite a bit of difference. But the different types of fan engagement, and that's what we're here talking about in this session today, is fan engagement. But I think we have to know the fan and know the difference in those fans and know what they're looking for when they come to the track. And I would absolutely say that there's different personalities between the different genres and what they're looking for. But again, at the end of the day, they all want to be entertained and they all want to be engaged and have a great time at the track, regardless if they're going straight in circles or right and left.
This next question I'm going to toss out to you first, Jen, and then I know Bill is going to have a great response here as well, because you guys are the masters at making it a fun time at your track. But Jen, how can we engage fans better, but more importantly for this crowd, how can we make more money doing it?
That's a great question. You know, I think bringing in sponsors, whether you're a small track or a large track, enticing your sponsors and having proof in your value with analytics and letting them know how many fans saw their ad, it's important. And not only if, like in NASCAR this year, Monster has created a huge buzz. And I think bringing in those big sponsors or even smaller sponsors that will help you market your track and tell people how awesome your track is and why, and sharing that message, that is how you engage fans and you keep them coming back time after time. Having a nice, entertaining area with clean restrooms. It seems so small, but it really is a huge thing. They will remember going into a porta-john that stinks, but you know what? They will also remember if you have an awesome facility that is engaging them, and they will share it, and they will talk about it, and they will come back again and again.
It's interesting because at Summit Motorsports Park, we view each one of our team members as a touch point, as a guest touch point. And so it starts with the approach to the facility and the view from the outside in. What is your guest seeing? Are they seeing beautifully manicured grass? Are they seeing nice, pristine, well-hung fence? What are they seeing from the outside in? I'll never forget the first time I had the occasion to go to Lambeau Field, and I was driving down Vince Lombardi Way, and I parked my truck right on Vince Lombardi Way and got out and looked at that incredible stadium, and my wife said, "Get back in the truck." But it was darn near a religious experience, and I bring that up, and I had the occasion, my son is a junior at Wake Forest, and they just played Notre Dame, so we had an occasion to go to the Notre Dame game, and the grotto and Touchdown Jesus, and it's all breathtaking stuff that is legend. It's the stuff that legends are made of. We have to remember something. That is how our fans view our facilities. We don't view them that way. Why? Because we work 100 hours a week. Why? Because we're caught up in all of the minutia of business and the politics of business and trying to keep our staff happy and trying to serve all the masters that we serve in motorsports. Our guests don't see all that. They don't care about that. They don't even want to try to comprehend that. They're viewing our facility through their eyes, not through ours. So my question to you is, what does your facility look like through the eyes of the guest? So they get past the landscape, they pull in, they're greeted with parkers. Are the parkers smiling? Are they disinterested? Are they sitting on the ground? Are they kids watching dragonflies buzz by? Or are they attentive and welcoming and smiling? That is your first touch point. Interestingly enough, it's also your last touch point. I have found that in my 40-plus years, I've never really had anybody say to me, "John Force set a world record at your racetrack." I've never had a person comment on a track record. I've never had a person comment, now, if a car is exploded or if something fantastic has happened. But the winning and the losing, or the records, the ET and mile an hour, we're too caught up in that. It's all of the experiential things outside those walls. Bathrooms are a huge, when we do our focus groups, bathrooms are a huge problem. And by the way, I've never been in a porta-john that wasn't stinky. But the point is, from the first person in, the experience only gets worse. So the point is, sight lines, food courts, facility cleanliness, smiling faces. Are your staff in uniforms? Our staff wears white pants and a sublimation shirt, and everybody gripes about it, about white pants, but you know what? You stick out like a sore thumb. We need to be readily available to our guests. So I think it's all of those experiential things. We can't control necessarily winning and losing. Now, we can use lights and sound and pyrotechnics and choreography. We script our shows to the minute. Pre-race ceremonies. driver introductions, autograph sessions, post-event parades, outros, as we call them. But we can't script who wins and who loses, but we control every other aspect of their experience. My degree's in accounting and corporate finance, and my father's parting message to me when he left Summit Motorsports Park, he purchased the International Hot Rod Association in 1996, and he said, and I was a typical bean counter who everything was associated with dollars and cents, and he said, I want you to remember one thing, and he picked up this blue mechanical pencil, and he said, you can't always run one of these with this. And it's so true. We can literally manage ourselves right out of business because we always have to ask ourselves what is best for the guest. Guest first. What is best for the guest? And as long as the guest is happy, you know, we have a saying that says you can't lose if the customer wins. If the customer wins, you will make money. If the customer loses, you'll be out of business.
All right, guys, I'm going to throw the first toss-up question of the day for this panelist up here. And Jason, I expect you to, use your elbows and get in there. I like giving that guy a hard time, can you tell? When you were down at Circuit of the Americas, you guys put on some great concert acts that I really do think brought extra people, extra eyes, extra attention to the track. How else can facilities use that upsell to gain revenue in a world where, quite frankly, sometimes the crowd size is going down?
Well, I think we can use all those opportunities to engage our fans to drive revenues. I don't think driving the revenues needs to be the purpose behind doing them. It needs to be entertainment and engaging our fans and providing them with a great experience at our venues. But if you can generate revenue from it, even better. As Dennis mentioned, in COTA, we did do some fairly large concerts. We had Elton John my first year and Taylor Swift my second year, so pretty significant concerts. Some would say we had a concert with a race the next day, and some would say we had a race with a post-race concert. But either way, we promoted it both ways, and I've done that from NASCAR to NHRA to Circuit of the Americas to Formula One, and it's always seemed to work. You give the opportunity to promote a concert and get those fans that just want to come see. I had 40,000 people we calculated that came just to see Taylor Swift that didn't know what Formula One was, but they bought a ticket, and they bought the same ticket that everyone else did to the Formula One race. About half of them actually came to Formula One. The other half weren't there for the race, just came for the concert. But that's okay. Did provide some logistical challenges midway through the day, and the changeover and transition of fans leaving after the race and fans coming for the concert. But there are opportunities for revenue, and there are opportunities to generate revenue on all these fan engagements. We all do it already at our tracks. We have sponsors that come in that we sell midway space to come in and promote their product. Well, some of them are promoting their product, but some of them are also entertaining our fans and engaging our fans and providing a service for us. So, that's the best of both worlds for a promoter or a track operator, is someone paying you to entertain your fans. So that's the easiest way, and all of us are doing that already. There's other ways from social media standpoint to gain followers, to promote your sponsors on your social media, to generate revenue for that. Through Jen's product, if you were to bring her product to your venue, she's got the nice restrooms with an experience along with it, and you have sponsorship opportunities. She's got a photo booth, and I asked her on our call leading up to this if the photo booth and the restroom were all in one. But she has a restroom that has a photo booth, and so she said no. I was trying to give her a new business idea. But there's screens, digital screens, there's revenue opportunities there for you. Lots of opportunities that are available to generate revenue, from sponsor activations to engagement to social media to generating that data. So you can generate revenue, collect data from your fans, entertain them, and allow your sponsor to promote their products. So, yes, there's definitely opportunities to generate revenue.
Jen.
Thank you. Yes. No, the photo booth is not inside the restroom. But, we do have fun urinal games, and listen, they are touchless. They're motion censored. So, but, we have over 50 screens all over, this trailer, and it's memorable. That is what these fans are looking for. They want to be entertained. The diehard race fan is going to bring someone that might not be a diehard race fan, so providing those opportunities to, have an entertaining experience, bringing in sponsors that will engage with them. For us, we use a free website called ritetag.com, ritetag.com. And it is a great way to find out what hashtags are working for social media, which ones are hot, which ones are not. I always pair one with something that's hot and then something that's longer lasting. So that you are really packing that punch. You are able to provide those analytics for your sponsors. They want to know this information. And so just being savvy, providing the story with the awesome characters that are at your track and letting everyone know why your track is so awesome and the different things that they can do. That's how you bring in revenue.
Bill.
I'm still trying to, I've been going to the bathroom for 50 years, and I've never engaged in urinal games. So I really want to talk to you afterwards because obviously I'm not the promoter I thought I was. Whole new line of thinking. I think one of the things we need to realize is that we look at our facilities and we see drag strips, and we see road courses, and we see short tracks, and we see dirt tracks. We need to be thinking about multi-use facility. We need to be thinking about all of the different ways we're going to hold a national dog show at Summit Motorsports Park in 2018. If you have the topography and you have the space, a mud run. I had a friend at Virginia Motorsports Park who told me he sold more concessions during his Tough Mudder event than he did during his NHRA national event. If you're centrally located in your state and maybe you can hold a state cross-country tournament at your facility. What's wrong with if we're a drag strip, putting dirt on our facilities and doing monster truck shows or dirt shows? I think we need to think outside the box, outside our specific discipline. And this touches on what was discussed earlier. Our facilities, we have these huge capital investments in our facilities. And in the case of Summit Motorsports Park, we open the end of April and we're done Halloween weekend. Well, there's almost 6 months where I can't do anything because Mother Nature dictates I can't. But we have about 100 events, and we have lots of days where we come in and there's no activity. We try to do track rentals and all of the different things that racetracks do. But the point is getting engaged with your area schools, egg drops, mock disasters, driving schools. There are lots and lots and lots of things that you can do. And I'm going to tell you by looking at this room that one of the things that we're all understaffed. And we're all sitting here thinking, my God, how are we going to do all this stuff? Well, you do them one at a time. Okay, you pick one thing, you pick a project, and you exploit that project. Maybe you get an intern. Maybe there's a spouse of a racer in your pit area that is marketing savvy or has some expertise in some area. There are lots of resources around us, but we get so overwhelmed because of the project right in front of us that we don't see the forest for the trees. Huge opportunities for us to become a multi-use facility.
I have a question about this whole VIP trend in sports. What can racing do to tap into that? I don't mean being choppered into the track. I mean some little special things that make people feel they have a special parking spot or a camping. I don't know. That's why I'm asking you.
Well, I think what those fans are looking for is the experience. They're not necessarily looking for, they want all those and they expect all those other things. They expect the great seats. They expect the nice food. They expect the special parking and the special gate to get in, not having to stop. They expect all those things. But what those people are really looking for, they're looking for that experience. It's all about, we keep talking about experiential, but that's what those VIP clients are looking for. And so anything you can do to create that experience for them, whatever, something that's different, something that the general average fan cannot buy. Maybe you promote that as a package, but that's really, when it boils down to it, that's what they're looking for. They're not necessarily looking for just to be a VIP. Anybody can buy a VIP package with special parking and special seats and food and beverage. They want that experience. So whether it's being on the track, whether it's being, all these are depending on the types of series, types of racing, but be in the flag stand, be on the track, ride in the pace car, all those experiential things that we like to, give away to the radio stations to promote and give away for us, or the TV stations, or run a raffle for, or pick a winner on social media. Those are the things that a lot of those VIP clients, the Uber VIP clients, really what they're looking for. And so trying to find those experiences at your track that you can create for them, whether that's a special area, not necessarily just a special seat.
And a lot of those things don't cost a lot of money. Ask a driver, if you have a featured driver there that night, to come to that specific area and sign autographs or engage those guests. That doesn't cost anything. That's 20 minutes or 25 minutes out of someone's time. I do know that they do. Here's another interesting thing about VIP guests. They will pay for that experience. They're hardcore fans. They're your super fan, and they will pay for that experience. So this idea of maybe VIP bathrooms, premium items, closed-circuit TV, climate-controlled experiences. I mean, you can put up a chalet, and you can climate control it, and you can create that experience, and they'll pay for that. Post-Great Recession, we saw this on the drag strip side. Tickets held, but the VIP experience went up. VIP, Summit Club, Top Eliminator Club, John Force Winner Circles, those things did not sag post-Great Recession. There are those people that still want that experience. White glove treatment, friendly people with smiles, a little more of a sophisticated experience. Those are all things that help enhance that. Did that answer your question?
And I'll just add one thing to what Bill said. They're absolutely willing to pay for it. And I've found in my experience, really the more you charge, the more they're willing to pay for it. Because if you've got a $50 ticket, don't charge $99 for your VIP package. Charge $199 or $299 or $399. It's, that's what a lot of people think it's worth more status symbol for them if they're willing to pay more. They're more excited about it if it actually costs more.
I want to piggyback on that. I used to go into sponsors that were non-traditional motorsport sponsors, NFL, Major League Baseball, NBA sponsors, and of course what the NFL dictates as an official partnership versus what we dictate the cost for an official partnership, light years different. So I used to take, several zeros. I used to take 3 proposals, and they were all the same proposal with a different contract page. And I did that not to be deceptive, but if I walk in with a $10,000 official package and I'm talking to a decision maker who's used to the price tag of an NFL experience, he's going to think, for 10 grand, this can't be worth anything. I can take the same package and charge 50 or 75,000. Now he thinks he's got something, and it's the exact same thing. So that dovetails with what you're talking about. The more expensive, well, it must be exclusive because it's expensive. That doesn't mean you take advantage of your guests. You give back to your guest. If you're going to charge that much, make sure there's that much more in value to enhance their experience.
Yeah, and I just wanted to add, it's about energy, from the time they come in to the time they leave. It's the energy you're projecting, like you were saying earlier, Bill, from, the parking to the last person that they see, everyone making it an exciting event, emitting that excitement, that exciting energy, makes them feel important.
Okay, any questions on the left side of the room? I hate to tell you, but the center and the right are kicking your butts in this race.
I'm Ronnie Ball, and I'm sitting there listening to y'all's success stories, and I applaud all of you. I guess my concern is there's a lot of folks here, maybe not a lot of folks here, there's some folks here, but I represent a lot of the weekly tracks across the nation. They don't have the big budgets that you've got. Y'all have focused on the very successful, supported tracks. How does the local weekly racetrack take advantage of what your ideas are, but don't have the budget that you guys have?
Well, Ronnie, first of all, good to see you. You know, do you remember what Norwalk Dragway was in 1974? Okay, it was a dump. It was a dump, and I'm not exaggerating the fact. Fence was falling down. We sat 800 people. We sit in Norwalk, Ohio. Where the hell is that? And the track had been closed. My father bought it sight unseen, reopened it, and just worked his tail off at guest service, worked his tail off at creating programs that were attractive. I think, you know, I'm going to use the South as an example. In the South, in the Carolinas, they're all in this pricing war with purse and entry fee. We need to remember that people get it. This is a hobby. This is about fellowship, and it's about friendship, and it's about going to the racetrack and parking next to your buddy and bench racing and getting to take your hot rod down the racetrack. And it morphed into this, I'm going to go race for $5,000, and I'm going to pay $75 car and driver, and I'm going to buy back, and I'm going to do all this stuff. Well, my recommendation, and I would love to talk to any new track for free about or any of the mom and pop or small tracks, and I mean no disrespect in saying that because we were one, okay? And I think it starts with your program. It starts with what is your offering that you're taking into the market? What is your message? It's not about going out and getting sponsorship. That will come in time. It's about looking at your core program, looking at your experience, looking at your employees. How, you know, my father always said you have to have a reliable timing system and you have to have a hook and racetrack. Two critical things in the drag strip world. And if you have a reliable timing system and you scrape your track and you clean your track and you prep your track and people can hook and have great 60-foot times and go safely down the racetrack, that costs very little. Putting together race programs that incentivize racers for being there. You know, in the old days, we used to have 20-plus points meets. That doesn't work anymore. Our fans have evolved. Our racers have evolved. They don't want to race that many times at one racetrack. So create a 10 to 15 race series. Create a modest point fund. Look at your event schedule. Is it race heavy? Are you doing anything for your fans? Do you have a street rod show? Do you have an import day? Do you have a family day? Do you have what does your kids' pricing look like? What is their bathroom experience? What is your food? What's your concession stand offering? I think it's a cop-out to say, well, we're a little racetrack and we don't have the resources that the big bad racetrack does. My father was an iron worker, and I ate whatever was left at Norwalk Dragway is what we ate all winter. So I have a horrible aversion to hot dogs. I've eaten more than my fair share. But I saw a man work his butt off, and in what was perceived as a B market, and grew it to what it is today. So you start by starting, but you got to take a hard look at what your offering is and where you're at today, and then create some goals on where you want to go.
And I just want to add, social media does not cost anything. It is free. You know, there's a great program called buffer.com, and it will schedule out your messages at a peak times, you know, and it's about engaging your fans. Taking a picture of your track or something that's going on at your track and posting that to social media, you know, Twitter, Facebook, Snapchat is huge with millennial fans. That doesn't cost anything.
And Ronnie, I saw a track owner in the Midwest that was having a problem with some of the fans complaining it was a dirt track. Oh, I don't want to get dirty. So he built suites, luxury suites. They intended to be about 4 pieces of plywood, a glass window, 4 folding chairs, and a table. How much did that cost him? Yet he can sell those out every weekend. Because those are the kinds of things. You have to think outside the box of what your fans want. All they wanted were hot dogs brought to them that didn't have dirt on them yet. They didn't understand the special flavor of clay.
Can I comment on that? If you're a mom and pop track, and Ronnie, and I know the ones you're speaking of, I've been to several of them. You don't need social media to get started. You don't need all of those bells and whistles and all that crap. What you need is a good, solid foundation.
And
okay?
ice cream.
Yeah. And you know what? The silly ice cream thing, a pound of ice cream for $1. People come and spend big money to get in to watch a race, and Top Fuel's on the track, and there's 200 people in line waiting to buy a pound of ice cream for $1. And I don't understand it, but my father made me promise to never increase the price, and so it will always be $1 for a pound of ice cream. But the point is, I don't know that you need all the bells and whistles. You don't need VIP locations, and you don't need digital marketing, and you don't need social media, and you don't. What built Summit Motorsports Park was its racer foundation. That's what built Summit Motorsports Park. So are you, if depending on geographically where you're located, if it's small tire racing, if it's bracket racing, are you doing that well? I guess that's the question. And if I were going to go into the Carolinas and start a bracket track in the Carolinas, it would be $30 car and driver, $1,000 to win, and I would focus on fun. Fun. We've all forgotten that, all the way from John Smith to John Force. We all did this for fun, right? That's how we got into this, and then it became a business, and mortgages ensued. And listen, I've sat at my desk. We borrowed $8 million in 2007. Our bank got sold in 10. The Great Recession hit, and I don't know how I'm going to cover payroll. So I don't care if you're big or you're small. Money's money, and not having it is not having it. So you look at your program, and you do what you offer well, and then you build on that.
Jason, I'm actually going to interrupt you and let you have your final thought of the day.
Well, I was just going to add on to that, but I can actually incorporate that into my final thought of the day. But what I've found and what I've seen, Ronnie, especially with a lot of those smaller tracks, is those guys tend to focus on what's happening between the walls, and that's it. They're not focused on the restrooms or the concessions or the food, or are we waiting in line to get in? Are the parking good? Are they parking in a mud hole, or is there gravel? Or, I teach a class. It's at a venue management school. It's called Enhancing the Experience, and it's really all those things. Bill touched on them earlier, but every touch point from the time your guests arrive at your facility until they leave, what's their first impression and their lasting impression of your venue, or their lasting memory of your venue? And so that's what I would say, Ronnie, to a lot of those smaller track operators. And look, I've had a lot of those small tracks myself, and you have to focus on the guests, focus on the fans, and whether they're a racer or a participant or a fan or a guest, they're just watching, a spectator. Really focus on the overall experience and enhancing that experience. Every touch point, every opportunity you have to create a memorable experience for them, and every opportunity you have to touch them or enhance that experience for something other than why they came there. They came to see a race, and they're going to see the race, and the race is going to happen, and it's going to go off good or bad, and their drivers are going to win or lose, and that's going to happen every time they come to the track. We need to focus on creating a great experience for that fan every time they come to the track, from the time they arrive and even before they arrive. Make sure that we have good directions, and you know where to park, and you know how much parking is, and if there's traffic, you give them an alert, and all those things that we can do to enhance that experience of those fans before they ever arrive. And every opportunity we have from all the senses, from smell, touch, sight, all of those things, from the time they arrive at your facility until the time they leave. And really, if we focus on that and the fun aspect that Bill's mentioned several times today, have fun, create a fun experience, a fun environment for your fans. The racing, the stuff between the walls will take care of itself, and that's what they're coming to see. But your responsibility as a venue operator or promoter is to make sure they have a good time and enjoy their experience at your facility.
Jen, your final thoughts.
I just wanted to add on that, it's about, creating that memorable experience. If they're having a bad experience, they're going to let everyone know. But if they're having a good experience, they're also going to let everyone know. And that's how you bring in more attendance. And I feel like in order to reach this younger generation that we're trying to grow into loyal racing fans, you need social media in order to reach them. It's not hard, I promise. It's, 3 messages a day, you load it up on Buffer and you let it go. Take some pictures, engage your fans, engage people that might not be fans. If they're looking for hashtag fan experience, they might find your track. So for us, it's not only, it is making that memorable experience from the time they come to the restroom experience. It's bringing in, sponsors that can help you do some of these things. Like for our facility, sponsors pay for this. It's not even coming out of your pocket. And so if you're not doing this, you're losing out.
Bill, your final thoughts.
Well, first and foremost, I appreciate the opportunity. I'm a rookie at this function, and I can assure you, Mr. Frost, that I will return in future years. Extraordinary experience, great room of people, and all of the answers to all of our problems are in this room. I think one of the things that I find most vexing about our business is that none of us talk. I would see Jason one time a year at the National Event Track Operators meeting. I'll see Randy this weekend and maybe at the team finals. The answers to all of our problems are here, and yet we don't engage one another. And I'm guessing in most of our communities, we're unique. We're not manufacturing, we're not service sector. So who do we talk to about the unique challenges, whether they be light poles, whether they be EPA, whether they be noise situations? A quick story, Vinnie Knapp at Englishtown holds a huge NHRA national event. A neighbor calls, a person answers the phone in his office and says, hey, my brother's in from out of town. I deal with your noise. I deal with your traffic. Could you get me a couple of free tickets? The response was, you damn neighbors, you ask and take and give nothing. Well, that neighbor went to a city council meeting, and 1 year later, Vinnie spent $1 million on a sound wall. Now, $1 million, 2 tickets. What we do is not rocket science. We just take care of people. Simple formula. We get to be, we're in the entertainment business. We are difference makers. We are magic makers. And that makes our job pretty cool. So, Merry Christmas and God bless.
What did we learn from our fan engagement panel? We learned a lot. First of all, we're a tribal community. I love that saying. Build the past. Share those memories of your past racers at your track to get your current fans hooked on the future. That's great advice. And we're not all about, when it comes to fan engagement, it's not a big market or a small market thing. It's just the scale of what you do for fan engagement is different depending on your scale of the racetrack. But marketing partners are the key to your success, whether it's a local diner or it's a big national brand. And finally, more than anything else in this business, clean bathrooms, they make a great number 2 impression. For the fan engagement panel.
Wow.